Hey everyone, I'm Mind, and this is set number 71814, Tournament Temple City from the LEGO Ninjago theme. This set contains 3,489 pieces, 13 minifigures, and will retail for $249.99 in the US as well as the same price in most places in Europe. This set does not officially release until June 1st, 2024, but it was gifted to me early for review by the LEGO Group through the LEGO Ambassador Network, but all opinions expressed in this video are my own. I'm doing early reviews of all the summer 2024 Ninjago sets right now, as well as a bunch of other themes such as LEGO Minecraft, LEGO Monkey Kid, and more. So if you enjoy this kind of content and you want to see more, leaving a like on this video and subscribing to the channel helps to put my videos in your feed as soon as they're posted, and also does a ton to help support me in the channel. Also make sure to let me know in the comments which summer 2024 Ninjago set you want to see an early review of next. So thank you all very much for your support, and now let's get into the review. So here's the Tournament Temple City, and right off the bat I want to say that having this built up, I like it a lot more than I did from initial impressions. Initial impressions, I thought it looked good, but it just didn't really strike me the way like previous Ninjago temples and stuff have. But actually putting it together and now having it in hand, I feel like official pictures don't do a good job to show you what this set actually is, because they have it angled in a weird way on the box art. Instead of having it the way you see it right now, they actually angled it more like this. And this makes the entire set look significantly smaller and less impressive. Because from initial impressions, I thought this little cave was like a tiny little bonus feature, but really the cave's almost the main focus of the set. So I am very happy to say that this feels much better in hand than it does on the box. The other important thing to mention, I think, is that this is the biggest Ninjago set ever that's not a Ninjago City set. That is very exciting to see, because while I love Ninjago City sets, it's cool to get something different for the first time in a while. And I think that's important to keep in mind with this set too, is it's not trying to be Ninjago City, it is its own thing. This set actually reminds me a lot of the Monkey Kids Team Hideout set. I'll put a picture on the screen, that's the one where like they're outdoor in the wilderness, but it's still like a city expansion. This gives me very similar vibes to that, though obviously this is a much bigger set because that one was 140 and this one's 250. So this is the kind of thing we've seen in LEGO before, but not specifically in Ninjago, so it is very different for a Ninjago set. The main focus of this build isn't actually the buildings, it's the wilderness. The temple might even be my least favorite part of this set. And that doesn't mean I don't like it, it just means it's not as interesting as the rest of the set. But yeah, I just want to give you that general overview before we got up close with things, but now let's take a look at each section of this build. So we'll start on the left side here with this little dock. You can see there's some jumper pieces on this platform right here, and that's to display minifigures. One of the minifigures in the set comes with a fishing rod, so you can imagine them fishing off the pier right here. And then on the other side we have this crane that's holding up a package. If you turn this part on the side, you're able to reel the crane in a little bit, though obviously not very far because you can only get it up to the top. There's this box on the end with stickers on each side, and each of them has something different written in jargon. And on this side it says do not eat, and on the other side it says fragile. So if we open it up and see what's inside, it's actually a printed waffle piece. So I guess whoever's shipping this does not want the people shipping it to eat it, which is very funny. I think this is probably meant to be for Arin because in the Ninjago City Market set he's holding a waffle. But yeah, this is a very silly little thing in the set. The middle part of the chain doesn't actually connect to anything, it just sort of drapes over this section right here. So if you're moving the set a lot, that could very easily fall off. So that is something to be aware of, but not a huge deal. And this arm can be moved up and down a little bit, so if you want to place it down or lift it up even higher, you can. There's some ingot pieces at the back which prevent any minifigures from properly sitting on this, but if you wanted to, you could take those off and set a minifigure there so they could actually control this. This is cute, it's fun. Other than that, the rest of the dock is mostly just room to pose figures. We have this little archway right here that leads to the bridge. We have these hook pieces from the March sets, and that's actually really cool to get those again, because we're not using them as, like, weapons or anything, we're using them as decoration. And they fit in really nicely here, and it's just something different. And speaking of cool pieces for decoration, we also have this all-new dragon piece for this wave. This does come in two other sets, one of the sets it's in gold, and the other set it's trans-orange. But I love this, it's a super cute new molded part, and it works excellent just to top off this archway here. And then we come to the bridge, and I really love how this bridge was done, because you can see it's completely covered in studs, so you can still pose minifigures on it. But it's like connected with Technic pins both at the bottom and at the top to create that angle. And here I removed the archway so you can have a better look at it. But yeah, there is no break in the studs. There's studs at the top, there's studs at the bottom, and studs all throughout. And I feel like that really cements what a good display set, and honestly play set this is. Because you can place minifigures all throughout this thing. And even with an angle right here, they didn't opt to use just like slope pieces or something. No, they kept the studs on top. And it just creates a really beautiful connection between these two sections. Once we get to the top of the bridge, there's a little play feature here too. You can see there's this classic LEGO rock piece at the top, and that's attached very loosely, so you could very easily knock that off and just roll it down the bridge. It can get a little bit caught up, so you might have to help it, but this can create an obstacle for some of the characters if you want that in the set, or if not, the rock is very easy to remove and the set in fact probably looks better without it, but it's neat that that's there at least as an option. Now that we're up to this level though, this is where we come to our first building. You can see it's got these like almost telephone lines that go up to the temple and back down to the archway that we saw below. Not sure if they're meant to be telephone lines exactly, but if you remove one of the hook pieces from the archway, or you just have extras from the March sets earlier this year, that could be another way to pose minifigures in the set because the hook pieces hang on perfectly to these lines. So if you want a minifigure to slide from the temple to this house or the house down to the archway, that's another option you have for play. Anyway, you can see the roof of this building uses like this garage door design, which is something we've seen before. It's simple but effective. In fact, they also used it in the Temple of Air Jitsu, which was the previous biggest set that wasn't a Ninjago City set. And this set I feel like takes a lot of design elements from that one. Turning around, taking a look inside this building, there's actually not anything in here. This is basically just a place to store minifigures if you want. There's a little balcony at the back, which is a great spot to display a minifigure. Like, this does look really cool. But in terms of play, yeah, there's nothing in here. You could add something in there if you want, but there's not a ton of room. And then this roof technically isn't connected, it just sits on top, so it can be removed quite easily. However, because of the rubber pieces that connect to the temple and the archway, you can't really remove this and place it somewhere else, unless you take off those pieces. Coming back around front, though, you can see there's another smaller archway right here, and I think this one's very pretty as well. Again, small thing, but it helps this set give off just really good vibes. And that's probably my favorite aspect of this set, is just sort of how real it feels, especially with the nature. Like, all the nature around is absolutely beautiful, and it's something we don't really get a ton in Ninjago. Ninjago's a lot of vehicles and mechs, and we do get location builds, but when we get location builds, they're definitely focused on play and the actual buildings. We don't get a lot of outskirts like this. So again, this reminds me of Monkey Kid, because Monkey Kid does this stuff a lot, especially in that one set that I mentioned, and it's just nice to have for Ninjago, the fact that there's all this room to display minifigures, and the terrain's not just like a flat tile either. We have varied colors, varied foliage, we have different levels as it comes down to the bridge. Like, this is really, really pretty throughout. And the dark tan especially, I just love as a color here. I think it looks gorgeous. But then we come here to the main focus of the set, the giant temple on the side. From the outside, this is good. Again, this is another thing that I like more in hand than I liked on the box. I will say it's far from the prettiest Ninjago temple we've ever gotten, especially comparing it to like the Temple of the Dragon Energy Cores from last year. This is not at that level. It's good, don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't feel as striking as some others. Still, there is a lot of elements of it that I really like. My favorite thing is this dragon head at the top. That's actually the dragon head that's used on the gimmick sets from earlier this year, and that's a super creative reuse of that part. Because I assume it was specifically designed for those sets, and I never expected to see it anywhere else, but no, it tops off this building perfectly. Another part I really love is these spikes coming off the side are actually mech fingers, but in red, and I believe that's an all-new recolor for that part. And whenever we see a new part in a new color that's as striking as red, that definitely stands out to me. And I really like the red as like a very subtle trim, because you can see it's underneath all the dark blue, which is obviously the main color that this uses. So it's not super obvious aside from the mech fingers, but it adds that like perfect touch of color that I feel like ties this entire thing together. Speaking of new pieces, by the way, I think these two are new. They might be from like Speed Champions or something like earlier this year, but personally this is my first time getting them in any set ever. But yeah, these are flat tiles that have like an angle to them, and you get a total of 4 of them in this set, 2 in each style, and unfortunately one of them was missing in my set. But yeah, I thought it was worth pointing out that that's a very interesting and probably useful new part. I do like that that's here, and it's a shame I'm going to have to get a replacement. The walls of the temple are probably what I like the least. I feel like they're just maybe a little too flat. The windows, though, are really nice. I especially like these, like, classic, what are they, fence or grill pieces? Those pieces have been around forever, but using them as windows looks great. And we do have a little bit of dimension here because they frame them with these gold pieces. But yeah, the flat white and tan walls, especially on this floor and on the next level, it's okay. Like, if this came out 10 years ago, I think I'd like it a lot more, but it does feel a little flat for modern LEGO. Bottom floor, though, I do think looks good. We have these archways on the outside that add all the dimension you need, and the roof is so big on this section that the flatness on the inside honestly doesn't stand out too much. There's a nice little dark gray platform on the outside too. Again, a great place to pose minifigures. You can have them under the roof, but not yet in the temple. And then the temple itself doesn't actually have a door or anything, and it is completely open from the back, so here's a look inside. Now, the most interesting thing is this little platform right here. So this has an all-new accessory on it, and I'm very, very curious what this is. So the jargon on it is the letter O at the top, the letter F at the bottom, I believe the letter T on the side. That one I'm not positive about, but I think that's the only letter it could be, and the letter S on the right. So what I believe that probably is T of S, Tournament of Sources. That's what we know is happening in this season, and that's what this set is meant to depict. So yeah, that says Tournament of Sources right there. And I guess this is probably the trophy, right? Because it's on the chalice right here. That would probably make sense and surrounded by fire. But I think it's also important to mention that this is somewhat reminiscent of Chen's staff from the Tournament of Elements. Especially this pattern surrounding it is very, very similar. So is this going to absorb elemental powers like that one did? I'm not sure, but very, very curious that similarity. Regardless, very cool little pedestal it has right here. That piece is printed, by the way, that print on the front. That is not a sticker. What is a sticker, though, is this little design directly in front of it. And there's a look at that up a little bit closer. Other than that, there's just a teapot and a little flower pot in this room. And then when we come to the upper level, this looks to be like a little sleeping quarters. So I guess maybe the participants in the tournament stay here in the temple. But they have these tiny little cots on the ground. They're very flat. They don't look very comfortable. But then there's also a punching bag on the wall for training, as well as this like little training dummy that you can hit and it'll spin. Coming up to the next level above that, this also has some very curious like lore implications. What's going on here? I'm sure it's something, but I can't tell you what it is just yet. We have 2 stickered portraits, one of like this this old man with a very short beard, and the other of this younger person who seems to be wearing the same robes. And I cannot tell you who either of those characters are yet. I assume they're important, but I'm racking my brain and I doubt these are any characters we already know. I mean, I guess that could possibly be Kai, but it doesn't look close enough to him. I think these are probably new characters we have not heard of yet, but we'll probably hear about in Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 2. There's also a very cute little phone right here. It uses the classic LEGO phone piece at the top and a sticker piece down here. It's a rotary phone, but it's got like this gold film around it to make it Ninjago-esque. That's silly, but I like it. And then we come to the top level, and there's just a crown piece in here with some fire coming out. Nothing too crazy going on there. Each of these sections is made to be somewhat easy to remove, so here's a look at that with the top level off. Then we have the next level. You can get a slightly better look at the training area there. And then this level also comes off, but then you come to the same issue of like the telephone line right here. So you have to detach that from the other part of the build, or else you're going to take the entire build with it. But yeah, this pops off somewhat easily too, and that brings you back to the ground floor. Now coming back outside, I don't think I've talked about the trees yet. They're in a few different places in this build, and they use the leaf pieces in orange, which is actually not the most common color for that part. We get it in bright orange pretty frequently, but regular orange, not so much. And I think it looks great. It makes the entire set feel very autumny. Also, they use the new reddish orange color for this year as well. Another interesting part is actually the base of the tree. Let me see if I can get a good shot of it. There we go. That piece right there, that's the Ninjago Aeroblade piece, but now in brown. It's the updated version of the part. I think they changed it a few years ago. But yeah, I believe this is our first time getting it in brown, which is a very cool color for that part. But anyway, now let's come back down to the other side of the temple, and this is where we get to the Blacksmith shop, which is easily my favorite of the buildings in this set. First, let me show you one of the coolest things ever. So at the back of the temple, you can see there's a little bit of water that comes out right here, and it flows down, and it's like dripping down to the bottom. But there's a gutter on the side of the Blacksmith shop that's like actually catching it, and then it flows down to the side right here. And this is meant to be what's powering the water wheel on the side of the Blacksmith shop. That is really creative. I really love that, and I love that it originates like much further back in the set. It's not just like, oh, it comes off the top of the Blacksmith shop. No, it comes from the temple and drips down, but then also comes over here to the Blacksmith shop. When I was building this and I realized what they were doing, I audibly went like, wow, like that was really, really cool. That might be my favorite detail of the entire build. The water wheel itself, though, looks fantastic. I absolutely adore this build, and as you can see, it does move. And the water wheel moving moves a few different things. First, there's these two platforms up here, and these are meant to be a platform for characters to battle. This may be a thing we see in the show, or this may just be something they made up for the set. But if you want to put a minifigure on each jumper piece, you can get some motion out of them like this. You can turn the water wheel manually with your fingers, or you can turn this little notch on the side right here. It also moves this hammer inside the Blacksmith shop against the anvil. Now, it's a little bit hard to see that, however, this entire section could actually be removed very easily. In fact, it only connects on with 2 studs. With it removed, you can see here's the little base that the Blacksmith shop sits on, and here's a look at the Blacksmith shop on its own. The roof, just like the roof of the other building, doesn't actually connect, it just sits on there loosely, so that could very easily be removed. And now we can get a slightly better look at the interior of here. On the one side, we have this big open doorway, and of course the anvil right here, and that's what the hammer hits against that we just saw. As I turn this, you can see the hammer comes up, and then it goes down, and then it comes up, and then it goes down. We also have a little fireplace on the side right here, and then back inside, there's a wheel to do some blacksmith work, as well as some armor that's been created. And this is one of the coolest pieces in this set, because this is the climber armor from earlier this year, but in an all-new color. It is gunmetal gray and brown. First off, gunmetal gray is a secondary color I don't believe is used on any of the climber suits. I'm pretty sure they all used gold. But then brown is an all-new primary color too. And yeah, this doesn't match any of the ninjas, so you could create your own custom ninja with this piece, and I think that's awesome. Obviously, you could use it for like Climber Dareth if you really wanted to. But this armor is the most detailed armor piece they've ever made in Ninjago, so getting a unique variant in this set is really awesome. Such a fun collectible to have. Anyway, you can see there's just a stand in here for that armor to sit on. And then here's another look at the mechanism that moves the hammer. As you turn the wheel, this section turns and it moves the hammer up, and then gravity brings it back down, and it moves the hammer up, and then gravity brings it back down. Finally, there's a ladder in here to get up to the upper level, so let me reattach that. Now, this upper level is just the sleeping quarters. There's not too much going on in terms of the actual build, however, there is 2 very cool collectibles here. For one, we have an all-new Ninjago card, this time of JZX. This is something they've been doing since 2015, and I am so happy to still see these. If you don't know what these are actually a reference to the old Ninjago Spinner card game back in 2011 and 2012. And that's been gone for a very long time, but since 2015, they've been doing micro-scale versions of some of the cards. So I love collecting these, and this is awesome to have another new one to add to my collection. For reference, here's what the original card looks like, and here's their version. The new version looks to be a gold variant, which I'm not sure if this card did have a gold variant, but yeah, it's always very cool to see this comparison. I love collecting these little ones. But then the other thing up here is perhaps even cooler. This is an all-new micro figure of Kai. Now, we got microfigures of both Jay and Cole in the Ninjago City Market set last year, and I thought that was really neat because they were the only two original ninja that didn't come as minifigures in that set, so they included them as microfigures instead. And that's a very similar thing for this set. Of the original ninja who aren't evil, Kai is the only one that doesn't come in this set, so they give us the microfigure instead. And in terms of what Kai suit this is supposed to be, I think it's meant to be Core Kai. It's definitely not one-to-one, like Core Kai doesn't have a symbol in the corner right here, but there really isn't a Kai suit that I could see that does that. So I think this is actually mostly an original design for the microfigure. However, if it's similar to any, it's similar to Core Kai. So yeah, very cool to get this and add it to the collection with Jay and Cole, and I hope we get Zane, Lloyd, and Nia in future sets in future years. This was an absolute surprise when building, and one I'm very happy to get. And also, because this is a Nanofigure, you get an extra of it in this set, so you get a total of 2 instead of just 1. So the Blacksmith shop is easily the best when it comes to cool collectible pieces. You got the card, you got the Nanofigure, and you got the armor, all are which are things I really love. But now let me reattach the roof to the build. And now we come down to the lower level. So this, of course, is the giant cave in the very center, and I think that has such a cool look to it. It is absolutely massive, and it's meant to fit the dragon that comes in the set, who we'll take a look at in a moment. But first, let me show you the one play feature with it. If you push in on the statue on the upper level right here, that'll actually drop down these rocks. So that could be a trap for anyone going through, and of course you could put them back when you're done. On the left side right here, you can see there's a big ugly rock piece, and that can actually be removed. And hidden behind it, there's just a little golden machete. That's like a cool little discovery for play. I don't know why it's a golden machete of all things. Maybe that'll be relevant in the show. But in the context of the set, I mean, the ninja already all have cooler weapons, so not sure why you would want that. But hey, it's very easy to replace with a different weapon if you want, and I like the way that's hidden away. The rock piece that I removed, by the way, has a sticker on it, and in Ninjago, it literally just spells out secret. Which, okay, yeah, that makes sense. If you see a rock that's marked secret, you should probably look at what's behind it. Anyway, when you're done, you can obviously put that back. Now, if you want your minifigures to get into the main underground area, you can slide this piece out of the way right here. It goes behind the blacksmith shop and it opens up this little doorway to get in. And of course that can be closed back up when you're done. And down here there's 2 sections, one on the left and one on the right. The one on the left has a Nanofigure in the wall, and this is just an unprinted gold trophy piece, as well as a little campfire that's cooking something up. Aside from that though, it's just tons of open studs again to pose minifigures, and I think that's honestly the main focus of the set, is just having room to pose your minifigures to have them battle. And then on the other side we have a few interesting things. For one, there's a statue in this doorway. It does have a printed torso, but it has an unprinted face, and the hair piece is like the bun hair piece. I'm not sure if this is any character we know in particular. My first thought was like Cole's mother, because we saw statues of her in season 13 and she did have this hair piece. However, I think it's more likely it's someone else, because I don't know why she would have a statue in the Tounament Temple City. Though I guess possibly it is Cole related, because right next to that we have this right here. And this is a stickered piece with blueprints for Cole's mech from this wave. So maybe if it is Cole's mother, she was the one who designed this mech somehow and they find it? I don't know, we'll have to see. But regardless, that's obviously referencing another set from this wave, so it's cool to maybe have an in-universe way to explain that. And aside from that, this side is basically just open studs and bones on the ground, which I assume comes from whatever meat the dragon was eating. And there we go, that's the entire underground section and pretty much the end of the build of this set. The main build of that set there is still the dragon and the balloon, which we'll look at in just a moment, but overall, I like this build. I will admit I do feel a little bit underwhelmed, and maybe I set my expectations too high. But you know, coming off of the Ninjago City sets, which are masterpieces of Ninjago sets, and just LEGO in general, in my opinion they're some of the best LEGO sets ever made, this just doesn't feel to that level. I think part of that's the price. This is $250. If this was $150 or $200, I think I like it a lot more. $150 would have been amazing. I don't think they would have done $150, but $200, they probably could have gotten away with $200. This is like half the pieces of the markets, but only $100 cheaper. Ninjago City sets and this set are a good deal, just like in general, don't get me wrong. Comparing this to a LEGO Icon set or a LEGO Star Wars set, this is about as good of a deal as you're gonna get. But comparing this to other Ninjago sets that are big, it's not our best value that we've ever gotten. And then the other thing is, as I mentioned, this set is about the nature, it's about the space, it's about having room to display your minifigures, because this is meant to be a city, and this entire time, we haven't seen any minifigures on it. I've been showing you this set without minifigures. So I feel like I'd be doing the set a disservice if I didn't populate it with all the minifigures that come with it, so let me do that real quick, and then we'll take a look at the side builds, then the minifigures, and then I'll give you my overall thoughts and everything at the end of this video. And there we go, here's a look at the set fully populated with all the minifigures that are in the set. Obviously, if you have more from your own collection, you can populate it even further, and this I do think really does so much for this set. The biggest thing about this set is that space, the fact that there is so much room to move around. So this is absolutely the kind of set you should display with minifigures on it. But now, with all that said, let's take a look at this dragon up a little bit closer. So here's the dragon up close, and we don't have an official name or element for this dragon yet. Based off its design, it seems to probably be a nature dragon, given the fact that it has like leaves on its face and little leaves and flowers all throughout. We've yet to see a nature dragon ever in the show, so I'm not positive that like that's a thing that exists in universe, but I really hope it does, because that's a very, very cool concept. Regardless, this is very different from any other Ninjago dragon we've ever gotten just because the colors are not something that matches any of the main 4 elements. And that makes me happy to see, because we've gotten so many different fire and ice and lightning dragons. While those are cool, it's nice to see them mix things up and do something different. This dragon reuses the young Ryu head from earlier this year, though obviously it's recolored to be in burnt orange and it's got that printing with the leaves on it. But unlike Ryu, the head isn't the entirety of the dragon's head. Instead, it has some bricks built behind it with these horns coming off. And I think that's a really smart way of doing things, because obviously on Ryu's one of the main characters of the show, so he's got like a very distinct shape to his face. So if you're going to reuse that head, it might be a little bit weird to see that another character looks just like Ryu. But by adding the horns and stuff at the back, it makes the same headpiece seem like a different shape. And I think it's super cute how the horns have little flowers coming off of them. Moving down the body, of course, there's all those flowers that I mentioned in the new reddish-orange color from earlier this year. And there's some articulation with this dragon on the neck. At the base, it can move up and down, and then the head itself can move side to side as well as up and down on the ball joint. Good enough range of motion in my opinion. It's nothing crazy, but it's solid. You could certainly get some personality here. Bright orange for the underside of the dragon's a very smart choice. That might be one of my favorite LEGO colors, honestly. I love whenever they use bright orange on anything, but especially with the burnt orange, the two complement each other really well. Then you can see, of course, the arms connect to the body on ball joints, and there's these little tiny claws at the end, which again use the mech finger pieces. And then the wings are just these super thin golden blades, which probably aren't the best for flying, but we've seen something like this before with the jungle dragon. This dragon may not be the best flyer in universe, though we'll have to see. Back legs, though, are more of what you'd expect from a Ninjago dragon, and again, I like that the flowers are included here. And then the tail at the back's in a few different sections. The base that connects it to the body is on 2 ball joints, so you can move it side to side, and then the other sections are just on a single ball joint, so there's a huge range of motion there. This dragon actually reminds me a lot of the Banshees from the Avatar movies, and I wasn't a fan of their LEGO set at all, but this is how I wanted their LEGO set to be, where they could actually walk around on their front legs, as well as fly around when you want them to. These individual blades, by the way, can be folded in or opened up, and then of course there's a saddle on the dragon's back to allow a minifigure to ride it. Wyldfyre's the one riding it in the box art, so let me put her on real quick, and there you go, there's how that looks. This is a very fun build and a great inclusion in this set, one of my favorite aspects of the entire thing. And then the final build in this set is this little hot air balloon for Mr. Pale, or Paleman, whatever you want to call him. This is a tiny little thing, but another, fun thing just for display. I would have liked if there was some way to actually attach it to the set, because the set doesn't come with any, trans-clear bar pieces or anything to hold it in the air. But that would probably be very easy to customize if you want. But yeah, this reminds me of, Ninjago Skybound. I think Wu had one of these in the intro. So there's precedent for something like this in Ninjago, and I think it fits Mr. Pale pretty well. The basket's in burnt orange, which I think might be a new color. I think it's personally my first time seeing that part in that color. But yeah, I don't have a ton to say about this, but it's cute. I'm happy it's here. And you can see, yeah, minifigure just fits in the basket like that. But now moving to the minifigures, here are the first 2 in this set. We have the all-new tournament suits for Lloyd and Cole. I'm actually not sure if I call these suits because we already have tournament suits from back in Season 4. So I guess they're the Tournament of Sources suits or the Dragon's Rising tournament suits. I don't know, let me know what you guys think in the comments. But anyway, the designs definitely do harken back to Tournament of Elements. It's the half masks, it's the hair pieces, and it's the sleeveless arms. And I am very happy to see that because the tournament suits and the Legacy 2 suits are some of my favorite ninja suits ever. I think the sleeveless arms especially look amazing with all the ninjas' colors. The bright Lego yellow just fits in so well with all the ninjas' outfits. And these are no exception. These are very, very cool. Starting with Lloyd, yes, he is bright green. Bright green's what he's been using since Dragon's Rising as opposed to regular green, which is what he used previously. Some people were worried he was going back to regular green because of the half mask, but no, this is an all-new bright green half mask for this set. And the headband's reused from the Master Lloyd figure earlier this year, and that's also in bright green. Accessories, too. This is an all-new armor piece for this figure, and all the ninja in this set have it. Weirdly, it's not an extra all the time. I've built all the sets now, and only 2 sets, including this one, had it as an extra, and this one had it as an extra twice. Which I'm not going to complain about getting extra armor pieces, that's awesome. It's just weird that it's inconsistent. But yeah, this is very similar to the Skybound armor piece, just slightly updated. There's almost like a 2-tier design to the shoulder blade, and it's a lot less bulky than the Season 11 armor, which they've been using a lot recently, which I actually like. I'm a huge fan of the double scabbard that they had in Skybound, so it's cool to see that back on a new suit. And you may notice something else here. That is an all-new shorter sword piece. This is an all-new part for this wave, and it comes in pretty much all the sets, if not every single one. But yeah, this is just a standard katana piece, but slightly smaller, and this is really great to add to the Ninjago lineup. We got the knife-sized katana back in 2018 as a part of an accessory pack, and this is longer than that one, but shorter than the standard katana. But the neat part about this is, yes, it does fit in the scabbard just like a normal sword, so you can have one of each, which is really cool. It makes the 2 swords make a little more sense. That being said, the ninjas still come with their standard weapons as well, so Lloyd has a 3rd sword, and Cole still has his hammer, so it might be too many weapons, but still I'm happy that option's there. and I love that new part. But now talking about the actual minifigure himself, you can see they all have like this sort of dragon scale design. They also have a little bit of their energy represented in the corner. For Lloyd, it's just a couple swirls, and for Cole, it's a bunch of rocks, as well as their element represented in Ninjago right here. So in both Lloyd and Cole's case, it says MOE, which for Cole is Master of Earth, and Lloyd, I assume, is Master of Energy. I still don't know how official that title is. We're getting conflicting reports from the people behind the show. But yeah, I believe that's MOE, meaning Master of Energy. And then they each have their corresponding Source Dragon symbol as well. Then on their legs, they both have their Season 11 symbols on like a gold emblem, and I honestly really love both of these suits. They are quite similar, so it's hard to pick a favorite. I think the dark green on Lloyd looks amazing, I'm really glad they're using that, and the gold trim looks really, really good on Lloyd, while on Cole, the orange looks amazing on top of the black. I think I slightly prefer Lloyd of the two, just because its colors are more interesting, but both are quite fantastic. Cole also disappointingly does not have his headband hairpiece. We got that in one island set, and then never again, which is a bummer. I would have really liked to see that. Every other ninja gets it, I don't know why Cole doesn't. And then here's a look at their back torso prints, which actually are really cool. This is my first time really looking at them. But it's their Source Dragon symbols with their symbol in the center, and that gold outline looks amazing. I have not seen them do something like that before. But yeah, Lloyd's got like a gold outline around his symbol and then a black outline around that. That is super striking. I really love both of these. Face print, by the way, we're just back to the standard movie face. We no longer have the Dragon's Rising faces. I assume that's because they have their half masks and hair is out, and this just makes more sense. I would not be shocked if they go back to the Dragon's Rising faces next year. But yeah, two fantastic minifigures to start. I'm super happy with both of them. And then next we have the other two original ninja who are in this set. We have Zane and we have Nia. Once again, they're both in their tournament suits. Zane does not have a headband because he's never had a headband, but Nia does use her headband hairpiece from Legacy. And even though this hairpiece has been coming in sets for years, I believe this is the first time it's like canon. I don't think we've ever seen her with this hairpiece in the show. So that's going to be really neat to finally see. Once again, they have their elements represented on their torso. Zane says MOI and Nia says MOW, which of course is Master of Ice and Master of Water. And you can see once again they have their Source Dragon symbols there too. Nia's got something really cool going on where she uses like metallic blue for her belt, which is a color I don't see LEGO use very often at all, but wow, it looks awesome on this figure. And her color scheme is actually just fantastic this time around. She's leaned fully into the azure, and there's not really any other non-blue colors here. We have like the gold trim, but most of the ninja have something like that. But the yellow and the blue complement each other really nicely. It reminds me a lot of like original Tournament J. That is my favorite of the original Tournament suits just because yellow and blue go together so nicely. But this new Nia suit might be even better. Like this looks really, really good. I think this is my favorite of the new ones. Zane though is my favorite ninja, and he does still look really good. Unfortunately, I think the metallic silver sleeveless arms do not look nearly as good as the yellow sleeveless arms, but I still love the combination of the white and the blue, and I like how their elements are represented in the corner once again. These two do use the same exact armor pieces, and there's a look at their back torso prints and back head prints. Once again, I love these Source Dragon symbols, and especially the dark blue on Nia. The dark blue on top of the azure is awesome. Wow, this suit keeps impressing me. Like, this is really, really good. Accessories, by the way, Zane just comes with standard shurikens, nothing too crazy there. But Nia comes with a trident piece, which that piece has been around forever, but Nia's never really used that to my knowledge. She's had brick-built tridents before, but not like the actual trident piece. But I think it fits her pretty well. I'm actually happy to see she has that in these sets. And then, of course, yeah, it's still the movie face prints here. Another two fantastic ones. Nia especially is incredible. And then we have our last two ninja, two of the new ninja for Dragon's Rising. We have Arin and we have Wyldfyre. I want to talk about Arin's accessory first so I can get it out of the way, but yes, he comes with a grappling hook, though now it's on like a little blade at the end. This piece was introduced in the first Dragon's Rising wave, and it is a really good part, but it is absolutely gigantic, so I'm going to get it out of his hand so we don't have to look at it anymore. And now we can see the two minifigures a little bit better. So finally, Arin does have a new suit, which makes me so happy to see, because in the first two waves this year, he did not get one, which was super disappointing, because he's one of the new main characters of the show and he just got nothing. Jay hasn't even been in the last two seasons and he got 3 new suits. But yeah, Arin was just stuck with his Wave 1 suit, so I'm very happy to see he finally has a new one. For some reason in this set, he doesn't officially come with an armor piece. He does use an armor piece in the other set that he comes in. However, as I mentioned, the set came with 2 extra armor pieces, so you could very easily put one on him if you want. And there's how that looks if you're curious. Here's a full 360 spin of it as well. But yeah, in terms of his actual suit, it's different from the other ninja. He does still have the sleeveless design going on, but he doesn't follow the same design aesthetic that the rest of the ninja follow. He's got his name written in Ninjago on the back, and this looks to be like a vest that he's wearing. A vest that drapes down into his legs. The torso piece is actually regular orange while the legs are bright orange, but they do that transition really well where it's not like super noticeable from the front, though obviously you could see it from the sides and the back. And then he uses dark blue as the secondary color, which is something we've kinda seen before. He had it on his vehicle earlier this year, and then casual Arin uses dark blue for his jeans. But on his first ninja suit, his secondary color was absolutely green, so it's interesting to see this change. But I don't dislike it. I think the dark blue complements the orange really well. I think I would have preferred dark green, but it's much better than like the sand green that he had previously. I like this little dragon that comes over one side of the vest, But I do kind of wish he had a normal ninja suit that matched the rest of the ninja, because other than the mask, this doesn't really strike me as ninja suit. It just kind of feels like a funky looking outfit, but I'm curious to hear what you guys think in the comments. Here's how it looks with the mask removed. It's still the same face front from the first wave, and turning him around, of course, there's no alternate face because it would show through his hairpiece, but it is nice to get his hairpiece here because that only came in one set previously, in Ninjago at least. It came in lots of sets outside of Ninjago. But yeah, very interesting figure. Happy to see a new suit for Arin. Not sure if it's my favorite, but it's different, and that's a good thing. And then we come to Wyldfyre, who actually is not a new figure. She came in sets back in March, but she didn't appear in this outfit in the first half of the show, so I guess this is her Season 2 Part 2 suit. Like, this is her tournament suit. It was just released early in the March sets, which I'm not against, and if you saw my review of those sets, you'll know I love this minifigure. I'm very happy the Wyldfyre officially has a ninja suit. She actually looks like a ninja here. Would have been nice if she came with a half mask. In fact, let me check if that actually fits on this suit. Okay, no, a half mask does not fit with her hairpiece, so that's probably why. But yeah, it would have been nice if she had some sort of ninja mask here, but the colors are fantastic. I love this armor piece they have going on for her that was introduced with Groot and LEGO Marvel last year, but it fits her perfectly. And this like slight etching design she has on her torso just adds so much detail. It's very subtle because it's like dark red printed on top of dark red, but I adore how it looks. The sand green trim's still here too, and I like how it's a little tattered because it definitely still fits her personality, but this truly makes her feel a lot more like a member of the ninja team. And her new hairpiece is fantastic. I really, really love that part. Back torso print too is super cute. It's got like this little fire spirit and it says WF for Wyldfyre. And then unfortunately still no alternate face print for her, which is my only real criticism of this figure. She has so much personality in the show, but unfortunately in minifigure form she's stuck with just one face. So I really hope we get a new face print for her soon, but the rest of this minifigure is really good. I can't complain too much. Happy to get her again, and surprised that she comes in so many sets. This figure comes in 4 sets, which is just incredibly nice to see. And now we come to our villain minifigures, and we have 2 in this set. We have the all-new version of Lord Raz, and we have the all-new version of Jordana. This new version of Lord Raz is spectacular. They went all out with this minifigure, and it looks so, so good. First off, the arm printing is back, which makes me very happy to see. He had arm printing in the first wave, and then they got rid of it for the January and March waves, which I was a little disappointed about, but it is back at full force for this minifigure, and wow, it looks fantastic. So this is Raz after being powered up by the blood moon, so all of his pink stripes have turned red. And you can see he's actually shirtless here. That's what's going on in the torso. That is shirtless Raz. But he still has like this vibrant blue armor on, and you can see that like on his wrists as well. The face too, again, has those red markings now instead of pink. And this armor piece is actually the crystallized crystal armor piece, though recolored in gunmetal gray. And that gives it a completely different look because it's no longer a transparent part. Leg print too is amazing. Again, I love the bright blue. It just contrasts so well with the black. And it goes all the way down to the toes as well. Like, they printed every surface they need to. He's got like this tattered rope belt on as well, which makes him like really seem like a warrior. This is Raz at his fullest power. And then here's a look at the torso print with the head and armor removed, as well as the back torso print where you can see the Wolf Clan symbol is still there, and he's got all of his red stripes surrounding it. This is easily the best version of Raz that we've gotten. I don't think it could get much better than this. And then we have the new Jordana, who has this new really elaborate armor. It's an updated version of her Wolf Clan suit, but now the blue parts have been exchanged for red again after the blood moon. She's got this all new armor piece that both her and Cinder share, and I'm not sure the right way to put it on, because we did see this armor in the first half of season 2 of the show. Cinder wears it. And if we're being accurate to the show, this should be turned around the other way. But in the set that Cinder comes in and both sets of Jordana come in, it's turned around this way with this part at the back, so I'm not sure if that's going to change in season 2. We will have to see if this is accurate or not. But yeah, here's how they tell you to put it in the instructions, and here's how it looks as Cinder wears it in the show. I think with Jordana, at least, it does make more sense backwards. That way you can actually see the Wolf Clan emblem, but we'll have to see what ends up being accurate. Anyway, the actual torso and leg designs are fantastic, because these are unique to Jordana this time around. In the January and March waves, she wore the same outfit as Cinder, which was good for those waves, but now she has her own unique identity. It's still the Wolf Clan outfit, but it seems very high-tech, and it actually seems like a combo of the Wolf Clan armor and Imperium armor, which actually makes a lot of sense for her. She was a scientist in Imperium, so it would make sense that she would build this high-tech armor for herself. And I love the detail in this so much. You have like the metallic silver trim, you got like metallic red in there too. It reminds me of like the LEGO Marvel Ultron figure from what, 2015 that was? So it's super cool to see that on an original character. And then she has a purple belt that hangs down, and that matches the color of the Wolf Mask Warriors in this wave. There's a look at the back torso print, which is once again fantastic. She has that red Wolf Clan logo, but it's just so much bigger and more vibrant now, and it like really draws your attention. This is a really fantastic minifigure design. I love this so much. Both of these minifigures are huge improvements over their original designs. And the original designs are good. I really liked them. These are just that much better. Also, Jordana still has the same face print from the first wave, which I like. Very happy smirk on one side, and slightly angry expression on the other. But yeah, great minifigures overall. And now coming to the next 2 minifigures in the set, here are 2 all-new, exclusive, and really cool ones. We have Mr. Pale and we have a Temple Guard. Now, Mr. Pale is an elemental master. He is the master of invisibility, and this isn't actually our first first Mr. Pale figure, but it is our first Mr. Pale figure in a Ninjago set. Because if you guys don't know, the original version of this guy came from an Ultra Agent set, which was a LEGO theme back in 2015. When they were making Tournament of Elements, they just took the designs of 2 Ultra Agents characters and turned them into Elemental Masters, and I thought that was cool for the time because we were able to get those minifigures physically because they came in Ultra Agent sets, but they were just completely different characters in Ninjago. Well, it seems 9 years later they brought Mr. Pale back, and for the first time ever, he has his own original design for a Ninjago set. But they still kept a lot of his aesthetics. He still has the red jacket and money on his undershirt, which is so funny. The golden chain as well, and then now he has like a little minifigure head on his belt. This design just gives off such an aura. It's hilarious and I think it's awesome. Turning him around, there is a back torso print this time around where he just has like this golden swirl. Not sure if that's like meant to be anything or if that's just the new symbol for invisibility, but that does look really cool. And then of course he still has his tan fedora, and the head is a trans-clear headpiece with sunglasses on, though it's slightly different sunglasses than it was previously, and of course no back head print. Yeah, this guy really rolls. I do already have the original Mr. Pale, but not everybody does, so if you're a newer fan of Ninjago, I'm happy that more people have a way to get this figure now. But then the other figure here, we have the Temple Guard, and this is an all-new original character for this set. At least, probably. See, if you watched my unboxing video, you would have saw my initial reaction was, oh, is that Echo Zane? And then I went, no, it can't be Echo Zane, this is a new character, it's just called Temple Guard. But as I was putting this guy together, I think it might be. I'm not positive on this, it probably is an all-new character, but there are some design elements here that are very reminiscent of Echo Zane. And we know they're going back and bringing back old characters such as Mr. Pale, he's from Season 4. So they could bring back Mr. Pale, who says they can't bring back Echo Zane and give him a new role? But yeah, this is an all-new golden robot who uses like throwing stars in his design, which is obviously Zane's weapon. And that's of course very reminiscent of Echo Zane. The armor piece on this figure is from the Golden Dragon Ninja, which it's cool to see that reused. And on this figure it does look amazing, especially from the front. It's a little bit bulky from the back, but I think that's fine, especially for a robot. And the burnt orange scuba mask piece I believe is also new for this figure, and it fits in perfectly. But then if we take the armor and mask piece off, here's a full look of the face print and the torso print. And this is another reason I think this could be a new version of Echo Zane, because that mouth is the same way that Echo Zane does his mouth, and there's clearly an armored faceplate over that head. So I don't know, we'll have to see in the show, but regardless of if this is Echo Zane or not, this is a really cool minifigure design. They do that thing that I love where it's gold print on top of a gold torso, and I think this guy strikes a good balance similarly to Echo Zane of feeling like high-tech, but also feeling like he fits in the Ninjago world. You can see he's got more armor on the back as well as on the back of his head, and he's got that same Tournament of Sources logo that we saw in the trophy earlier. So these are 2 more really great minifigures that I couldn't be happier about being included. Both of them are fantastic exclusives. Then here are the next 2 minifigures, and I'm not sure about the context of these 2 in the show. These 2 are all new for this set, and they have new names. This is Bleckt, and this is Roby or Robbie. However, I'm not sure if they're actual characters or just generic civilians to add to the set to populate it. Blecht, I'm pretty sure, is a new character because he has an all-new face print that has a ton of personality to it, and I don't think they would introduce that for just an anything character. He's clearly an older man, he's got a monocle on and a little beard, and this torso print's all new too with like this black trim robe, which I think looks really nice. He's got a little clock coming out of his pocket too, which I saw some people theorizing that he might be the new Master of Time. I doubt that would happen, but that would be really cool. And you can see he's got the Tournament of Sources logo around the back too, as well as more of that black trim, which looks so pretty. That's honestly a really nice looking torso print. He's the one that of course comes with a fishing rod and a fish as his accessories. And there's a full look at his face print taking his hairpiece off, and unfortunately there's no alternate face on him. He does have the Han Solo hairpiece in white though, which that's a very cool color for that part. So yeah, not sure what his deal is, but I like him. And then Roby or Robbie, it's R-O-B-Y, I'm not sure how that's pronounced. He is basically just a generic LEGO City figure except for that torso print. The torso print is all new and again has that Tournament of Sources logo around the back, but other than that it is just like a generic red and purple robe. I actually quite like the colors of this though. That is an amazing torso print to get. I feel like if you're just trying to populate like an Ninjago City or whatever, that's a great piece to use. So I'm happy to get it, but I don't have a ton else to say about this figure. I saw some people point out that his face print is the same as the one from the Ninja Brick box last year. I doubt that's any relation, but it would be cool if they were somehow canonizing those figures. And there's a look at the alternate face too. So yeah, Blecht, very cool new minifigure, curious to see what his deal is. Roby or Robbie, cool torso print, I'm happy he's here, but obviously one of the least interesting figures in this set. And then the final figure in this set is almost definitely a generic civilian. She's just called Blacksmith, and she's meant to run the blacksmith shop. She does come with a trans orange katana, which is not the most common color for that part. It came in the Ninjago City markets last year, as well as a polybag, and now the Colmec. So it's in a few sets now, but still definitely the least common color for that part, so cool to get again. And then her face print is once again from the Ninja Brick box, but this hairpiece is in dark brown, not black, so it's not the same exact character as that. Torso print is really nice, but I know I recognize it from somewhere. I think it's, oh, you know what, it's the shopkeeper in the markets, right? little guy on the boat. I believe he uses this torso print, so this is not new for this figure, but it is still a really nice one and one that I'm very happy to get again. Face spread, though, is just generic one from LEGO City. There's a look at the alternate face around the back if you're curious. Not much else to say on her, but hey, I'll take more minifigures. I'm happy she's here. She fits in well in the Blacksmith shop. Okay, and one final thing with this set before I get into my overall thoughts, I want to show you how this set combines with the Tournament Battle Arena set, which is also in this wave. I'll have a full review up of the Tournament Battle Arena very soon, but it's able to split into 4 different sections. That part comes off, this area with the statue comes off, though that's not supposed to fall off, and this area on the other side can also come off. Then in the Tournament Temple City, you can remove part of the dock, as well as the crane, and then over here by the hidden machete, you pop off this tile, as well as the tile right next to it, that exposes 2 Technic holes. Now, you're free to mix and match these sections however you want because they are modular, you can pick where you put what, but in the instructions, this is how they show you doing it. You put the drum where the crane was, the statue where the dock was, connect the weapon rack back to the left side of the arena, and then attach the back of the arena right here. So here are the 2 sets combined. It doesn't look perfect, but it gives you some more fun options for play. I do think it's also important to mention that between these 2 sets, you get basically every minifigure in this wave. The 2 sets don't overlap minifigures at all, and the ones that aren't in this one are in the other one. The only figure you don't get is the new Mech Suit Cole, which is exclusive to the Cole Mech set, which makes sense. But no, every villain and every main ninja suit is in one of those 2 sets. So potentially, if you're only going to get 2 sets, that is an option to get basically every character. And now, overall, what are my thoughts on this set? Well, as I said at the beginning of this video, I like this a lot more in hand than I liked from initial pictures. I thought initial pictures looked good, but not amazing. In hand, though, I like it more, but it's still not perfect in my opinion. And again, I think I might have just set my expectations too high, but comparatively to like a Ninjago City set, which is more expensive, but not that much more expensive, this just isn't anywhere near the same level. I think it's awesome that we have like a terrain build for Ninjago, because that's not something we get too often. And I think this is a fantastic way to display minifigures. I love that it connects with one of the smaller sets. And my opinions about this might become stronger after I see the show if this is like something iconic from the show. But I think the other thing that makes me hesitant to love this set is the price. Again, I want to reiterate, the price isn't objectively bad. It's over 3,000 pieces and 13 minifigures for $250. Compare that piece count and minifigure count to a Star Wars set of the same price and this is going to look amazing. But we're not comparing it to a Star Wars set, we're comparing it to Ninjago. And looking at the Ninjago City sets, which are a little more expensive, they just have much more minifigures, much more parts. This does not feel to be as good of a value as those. So would I recommend this set? It depends. If you're a huge Ninjago fan and you like buying big Ninjago sets, then yeah, probably, you'll enjoy this set. It's not Ninjago City, but it's still good. But if you're someone who only buys some sets and you're not buying everything, especially if you don't have the Ninjago City sets yet, I think those are definitely a better option than this one is. The other thing to consider is the minifigure distribution, which I'll talk about this more in my video going over all the sets of the wave, but I am super disappointed by the minifigure distribution this time around. Because if you want 3 of the original Ninja, Cole, Lloyd, and Nia, your options are either this set or the $90 Ultrasonic Raider, which I really don't like. I'll cover that in another review. So unfortunately, this is the better of the 2 options, though it is significantly more expensive. So I'd say overall, this is a good set, just not a must-have set. It looks incredible on display, especially when you fill it with minifigures, and I think it can be fun for play, too. But I just can't help but feel like there's a little bit of missed potential here. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of the set in the comments below. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, make sure to let me know in the comments which Ninjago set you want to see an early review on next. But as for this one, I think that's about all I have to say. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!